Hey, what's up guys, Radku here, back with a, excuse me, another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today is going to be Abyss Actor. Now, I've already done 2 updates to this deck, but God, I love it so much, so I had to do another one. I might hit you guys up with a Fire Fist deck, or something along those lines, but this deck is super cool with some of the most powerful cards I've ever seen in any deck. Now, it might seem weird that I'm running 50 cards, but if you see right here, this whole row is just draw spells. So I wanted to up the consistency a lot, and this deck doesn't really use the extra deck a ton, other than the 3 mandatory extra deck cards. So, I mean, it's fine. You can use extra, and if you have additional cards in your extra deck, you can do that, but, it could be risky if you have, Abyss Actors, but it usually starts off your, main phase, so you could use it on your first turn. So, some of the other additional things I changed about this deck is I put in a whole row of, stall cards. I think I had Judgment and Strike in my last video, and I had like a Storming Mirror Force, but I decided to sub in for Lost Wind because Lost Wind is more effective now. So basically just free negation. So the reason I play these is because the whole point of this deck is to bait your opponent into destroying your set, spell, or trap cards to get some of the most broken effects in the game, as in special summon as many as you want from your deck, draw 5 cards, and then this one's just decent. But you have other cards in the deck to help aid you in that, because if your opponent thinks you're actually playing traps and actually thinks you're a threat, they're going to be trying to destroy your back row, which is when you snap on them and bait them into destroying your super powerful spell cards. So without further ado, let's jump into the deck profile. Starting things off, I play 3 copies of Superstar, probably one of the best cards in the deck. Just generically, the boss monster of the deck. When this card is normal or special summoned, your opponent's spell, traps, and effects cannot be activated. Then once per turn, you can set 1 Abyss script directly from your deck, which is really important because you can set like an opening ceremony or an abyss-tainment. Now, I realize that I kind of messed up with the extra deck because of how easy this deck can swarm the field like crazy. I should have put a bit more Link 4 monsters in here, maybe like an Appaloosa, a Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax, or even a generic just Boral Sword. But this deck is super easy to flood the field with, and with cards that can search your cards, your Abyss scripts, it's really good. 3 copies of Mellow Madonna, because this just has a decent effect, plus at first it has a search effect on its pendulum effect, which is really good either way. Plus it's a scale 0, which is really good. Then 3 copies of Wild Hope, probably also one of your best cards in the deck. Once per turn, you can turn 1 Abyss Actor card in your other Pendulum Zone. Its scale becomes 9, which is kind of important because even though this one is scale 2, most of your cards are between scales 8 through 2. So you won't be able to summon your trendy understudy, which is fine because you could just swarm the field with all your other ones and call it a day. Then I play 3 copies of Sassy Rookie, just because this card is just generically good for protection. It keeps your cards from being destroyed, and it's got a decent effect. Its pendulum effect is if an Abyss Actor monster you control would be destroyed by battle, you can send this, you can destroy this card instead, which will send it to the extra deck, which you can use for Pot of Riches. Then the first time this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, it is not. Then if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, each turn it is not destroyed. Then if this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in its owner's monster zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, special summon 1 level 4 or lower Abyss Actor monster from your deck. I don't understand how people ignore how good these cards are. Like, sure, this one has to be destroyed, but that's okay because this whole format, every single deck has card destruction in their deck. Not the card destruction, but like have actual destruction, which it's so easy to trigger off these super broken effects with this deck. I need to drive home the fact that this deck is so powerful. 2 copies of Twinkle Little Star cannot be destroyed, and then it can make up to 3 attacks. And it's got a similar effect in its pendulum effect. Plus, it's a scale 9, which means that even without Wild Hope, you can still use this to summon out a ton of monsters. 2 copies of Trendy Understudy. When you pendulum summon a monster, you can add one face up level 1 or 8 Abyss Actor monster from your extra deck to your hand, which great recovery because if you have stuff stuck in your extra deck, you're gonna need to have Abyss this to renew it, as well as, again, I play Pot of Riches, like one of the best cards ever. Just to renew cards into renewing cards into your deck is super good with pendulums, because while they're in your extra deck, they're basically useless. I pray that they'll give us back at least one Electromite, which I think they will next format, but we'll see. 2 copies of Evil Heal, just because it's a scale 1 and it's just a decent monster with 3,000 body, which is pretty high for this deck. 1 copy of Curtain Raiser, the only hard ones per duel in this deck, plus it's just a free special summon that you can use to go into your 1 extra deck monster, Hyperconductor, which is really good. Then for the Abyss scripts, 3 copies of Abyss-tainment, absolutely mandatory. This card can special if it's destroyed while you have a face-up Abyss Actor in your extra deck. You can special summon as many Abyss Actors from your deck as you want, which is why I said that I messed up when I didn't put enough Link monsters in the extra deck. Even though over half of it is Link monsters, I still didn't put enough in here because this so powerful. 3 copies of Opening Ceremony, same conditions as Abyss-tainment, but instead if you have an Abyss Actor and it's destroyed, you get to draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. This is so good. Like, words can't describe how powerful these cards are. And I don't understand why this deck never sees play. This card is just decent for its normal effect. Target 1 face-up card on the field up to the number of Abyss Actors, then destroy them. So just removing cards from your opponent's side of the field. Then if you control level 7 or higher Abyss Actor monster, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to it. So if you control, like, I don't know, Superstar, and you use Superstar's effect to set this, then your next turn you can activate it and just make it a spell speed 4. Then you can, the destruction effect, you can add up to 2 Abyss Actors or Abyss scripts from your deck to your hand, which is still super powerful, which means you can add your Opening Ceremony and your Abyss-tainment. Now, the single greatest card in the deck and the enabler for all your amazingly broken plays, Abyss Playhouse. Fantastical theater. Or fantastic theater. You can reveal 1 Abyss Actor pendulum monster and 1 Abyss script spell from your hand. Add 1 Abyss script from your deck to your hand. So this can search your Abyss scripts, which is really good. Then, while you control a pendulum summon Abyss Actor monster, any monster effect activated by your opponent becomes. I really want to put an emphasis on becomes, because the thing is that means that your opponent won't have any more card effects as long as you have an Abyss Actor on the field. They will only be able to destroy 1 set spell or trap card, and then you can only use the effect once per turn. But realize it doesn't matter. It means the search effect, because this just doesn't turn 1 monster. All your opponent's monster effects are going to be destroying one set spell or trap card, which is so good. You can stop all of their plays with this one card, and I just cannot stress how amazing that is. They have the most broken spell cards and a field spell that can negate all your opponent's monster effects and give you more advantage while they're doing it. Continuing from there, sorry, I get very heated when I'm talking about my Abyss Actors. 3 copies of Allure of Darkness, because all your cards are dark, and getting it anywhere other than the extra deck is fine. 3 copies of a Pot of Riches. This will brick if you don't have enough Abyss Actors in your extra deck, but it's fine. You can get Abyss Actors in your extra deck super easily. 3 copies of Extrav, because just basically free draws. Banish them from your extra deck face down. So, yeah. Not bad. Plus, yeah, just decent draws for a deck that doesn't really need to utilize the extra deck, but can. 1 copy of Desires, just because draw spell. 1 copy of Terraforming. Then for the because this is just really good for consistency's sake, you can search your Playhouse, which is the best card on your deck. 3 copies of Judgment, 3 copies of Strike, and 3 copies of Lost Wind. Now, this is really important in the deck, because if your opponent knows your playstyle, they're not going to destroy your set spell or trap cards. But if you have things that will disrupt their plays no matter what, I'm actually thinking about cutting out the Desires and some of the other draw spells in place of to fulfill the Solemn Brigade, as well as put in some similar cards from Abyss from Burning Abyss, like the Trap variant, because if you can get enough stall cards in the deck, your opponent will be forced to destroy your set spell or trap cards or face the consequences. So that's pretty much it for the main deck. The main deck is so powerful. Like, this is one of the strongest main decks in the entire game. I don't care what anybody says, go punch them in the face. Then continuing from there, 3 copies of Hyperconductor. This card is really, really good. So it needs 1 Abyss Actor Pendulum Monster, which is fine. All of your Abyss Actors that you use are Pendulum Monsters. Then you can target 1 card in your Pendulum Zone, special summon it, then place 1 Abyss Actor Pendulum Monster with a different name from your deck or face up extra deck to the Pendulum Zone. So the thing about this is that you can summon it for free with Abyss Actor Curtain Raiser, as well as you have a lot of broken effects with being able to set your Wild Heart up in your Pendulum Zone right then and there. Plus, it's a free special summon. Like, we're ignoring the fact that it can be summoned with Curtain Raiser, which is already a free special summon. Then you can summon it out, then have another free special summon to go into even more Link plays. Like I said, I screwed up with not playing enough Link monsters. I'm cutting out all the Xyz monsters. Screw these. We need more and more Link monsters in this deck. Continuing from their generic Link monsters, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn, and Nightmare Cerberus, just because generic, plus going into them is super, super easy. 1 copy of Saryuja, because drawing 4 cards, it's not even a good effect in this deck. Like, you have to think about that. Drawing 4 cards is one of the weakest effects in this deck. Like, I cannot explain how powerful Abyss Actors are. Then, continuing from there, 1 Gravity Controller, just because generic. 1 Traffic Ghost, just because it has low pointing arrows. I thought it was good just because it's generic. Plus, again, it has low pointing arrows, which is really, really good. Especially for Pendulum decks. I really wish we had Electromite, then I could play the other Metal Foes Link monster. I think it might even be a Zephyra card. I'm not sure, but it needed a link monster. So, continuing from there, one Abyss Dweller, because generic negation, one Tornado Dragon for spell and trap card removal. Now, keep in mind, you cannot destroy your own spell or trap cards to trigger these effects. They have to be your opponent destroying them. Which is why Playhouse is so important for the deck. Like, if you're gonna, this deck is so budget too. Like, even this entire thing, including the extra deck, is gonna be under $40. The main deck itself, if you limit it to 40 cards, is really only gonna be like $20. It's super, super cheap. And again, I can't explain how powerful this deck is. Then one Utopia double, just because reasons. Then one Utopia, one Dingirsu, because we do have level 8s in this deck, not a ton, but we do have them, and one Hope Harbinger, just because generic. Like I said, we don't use the extra deck a ton, but you can gear this deck more towards link plays, which I should have. I'm stressing this more. I will literally change the extra deck in the update to give it more link monsters. Like, forget all of these. You need more link monsters. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I cannot stress that this is literally a tier 0 deck if people will actually pay attention to it. But it's kind of been just a gimmick as of late, because it's like, oh, who's gonna destroy the spell and trap cards so that they have super broken effects? But the thing is that you have Playhouse, which means that your opponent can't do anything. They literally can't. They are not allowed to activate their effects, because all their effects become a destroy one set spell or trap card. So that means they either can't activate their effects at all because they actually read the card, or they can't do anything because they know they're going to destroy a set spell or trap card. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, go pick this deck up. You can cut out the draw spells. You can even cut out some of the trap cards and put something different in, something cheaper. But seriously, you must go pick up this deck. This is the best deck ever. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, let me know what you thought, and let me know if there's anything you would change about this deck. And I will see you in the next Yu-Gi-Oh video. Peace, guys.